Hello, guys. Good morning. It's Rodzi here again, and as usual, I'm practicing my English. And today I'm talking about how brokenhearted and betrayed and disappointed and deceived I've been by the social structure that we call the school. For me, being betrayed by an institution that we usually think of as the paragon of wisdom, morality, understanding, knowledge, could be something so odd and cruel and hypocritical that it would just hurt me, for long periods of time. But before I, explain how I think I've been betrayed and deceived and made to feel disappointed and made to suffer by, again, the school as a social structure, I would like to tell you about a story that I still vividly recall, even though it's been 20 years since then. It was 2006, and I was just, wondering about life and existence and suffering and the causes of suffering. And it was just, I think it was just overwhelming for me as a 16-year-old at the time, because I knew that at the time my mother was working so hard just to give me my basic needs, let alone to send me to school. And I also knew that my mother had to work so hard because my father had passed away 3 years before. And so I couldn't tell my mother about it. And then on the other hand, there were people around me, even friends, who were there. They were there. My friends were certainly there for me. But nevertheless, they would give me, extremely vague, explanations and answers and things of that sort. And they would always persuade me to join a religious group, which is weird for me, and which was really weird for me at the time. And so I just kept it to myself. And then I, of course, would go to school every day, having those questions in mind, while being given tasks and lessons to learn that didn't make any sense to me. Maybe because I was just too stupid. I don't know. But none of the lessons in our school made any sense to me. And that was quite it didn't make sense to me, because I don't understand, I didn't understand, and I still don't understand why like the school would give me more problems as a 16-year-old teenager when my life had already so much problems. My father had passed away 3 years before. I knew that my mother was struggling at home to make ends meet. But then I was giving all these sorts of problems in school, many of which had to do with the subjects or the lessons themselves, and many of which just had to do with how poorly managed the school was, really, in terms of order and enforcement of rules. So one day, for whatever reason, I thought, okay, I'm just gonna ask, at least this question in my head that, I just can't help but ask, because I want, like, the answer, if there's even a thing as the answer to my question. So I came across the principal of that school and asked her this question, like, excuse me, madam, like, we go to school every day, we have to deal with these subjects that honestly don't make any sense to me. They don't help me at all with the problems that I have outside of this school. Or why the hell do we have to go to school? Like, why? Like, my grandfather made, like, a decent, like, my grandfather made a living without having been to finish schooling. My mother does. My grandmother did. But here I am, like, I'm just a 16-year-old, and I have to, like, I'm sent to school every day. And when I'm in school, I'm not even taught about things that could help me solve my problems outside of the school. I'm given more problems. It doesn't make sense to me. And then the principal of the school simply told me, well, right now you're struggling, but one day when you graduate, especially when you graduate from university, you'll have more money, you'll earn more money, and then you'll be happy. You're gonna have a really bright future, and you're gonna be able to buy the things you want. So I just left, okay? Because for some reason I felt that she was just telling me a script. That's, for whatever reason, I felt that way. I felt that the principal was just reciting a script. It felt so weird. So I left and went to straight to my class advisor and asked the same question, and I was given the same answer as the principal had given me. So I felt like, again, it was just a script. It didn't make sense to me. So I thought, okay, so this is just about going through the motions, and that one day we can earn more money and perhaps be happy, have a bright future, and buy the things that we want. Maybe buy myself a PS3 or a PS4 or whatever. So that was it. And so I had to grind, I had to go to school every day, and then in university it was the same. And then in university there was this toxic bureaucracy, toxic competition, toxic rivalry. It wasn't all bad in university, but there were toxic competitions happening every time. But then, the university simply said, well, it's everything that we do here is necessary. It's for you guys, so that one day you can get jobs and have a good life, have a happy life. So it was like the same script. Go to school, go to university, finish schooling, finish university, and then have a bright future, have a great life. Right? But now look around you. Look at the television. Look at the news. Look at your smartphones. Wars breaking out every time, it seems. Well, of course, that's an exaggeration, but you get the point. Wars break out. Inflation happens. People die of viruses. People lose their jobs. And then lots of tasks that should be done by humans are outsourced to to different sorts of machines, particularly the AI. And so nowadays people lose their jobs. Graduates have no jobs. And then those graduates who eventually get jobs only find themselves working in toxic workplaces. Like, is this the bright future that I was promised 20 years ago? It's maddening. It really is maddening for me. Now, maybe I'm just stupid, I don't know. Okay, but that's how I see it. That's why I'm so scared for the children of today. What kind of promises do they hear in school? When, in reality, they probably see that, some schools are just diploma mills, if that makes sense. And, children nowadays learn to even compete more in very toxic and grueling ways. I'm frightened for children, really. And luckily for me, I'm not married, I don't have a child, so I don't have the fears of a father, because I'm not a father. But then it doesn't mean that I don't fear for the children of today, because even if they are not my children, and most of them are not even related to me, and they are just complete strangers, still they are sentient beings. And I don't like it when they are lied to. Children are very, very sensitive. No matter how much you train them to be tough, to be strong, they are still children. Okay? That's just a fact. No. And so, this tells you why I feel that I've been betrayed, deceived, and just made to suffer for years. Now, of course, it wasn't all bad. There were nice things in university. There certainly were nice things in school. But those things were not even academic. They were just kind people who were just there to just be human and have fun. It's really insane. It just hurts. I feel brokenhearted. I genuinely feel brokenhearted. Usually when people hear the word brokenhearted, they mean, oh, he has broken up with his girlfriend. That's why he's heartbroken. In my case, my heart is easily broken, especially by institutions that, in theory, should be designed to help people and just be honest and nice to people and help people, of course. So, is this the kind of future that I was promised 20 years ago? If this is the great future or the bright future that they were talking about 20 years ago, God damn it. That's all I can say, I guess. Screw this shit. Seriously. Thank you very much.